What's going on, everybody? Tiger here. Um, Doing a quick video on this upcoming week. Was so busy last week I didn't even get to make a video, but yeah, this will be a watch list video of some things that I'm looking to potentially trade this week. And we'll just start off real quick by looking at the 30,000 foot view of the news headlines, right? As always, I don't use the news to make a buying or selling decision, but a lot of people do. So I like to see what they're doing so that oftentimes I can do the opposite, right? So, and we'll get into that in a minute with our top setups page. But just looking at a glance, I mean, if we're looking at the U.S. stocks, I am seeing here where, yeah, just things like this right here. U.S. China to resume trade talks with focus on rare earth exports. That's a big deal, and here's why. If you click on that link, that article, this is why. Look at this. China dominates rare earth mined production. Look at that. They got a ton of it, and the U.S. is way down here at the bottom. So, yeah, it's a pretty good idea. Try to negotiate with that trade deal and get some of that included. So, um, yeah, yeah, they're just running away with it. China is. So definitely a good idea to get that incorporated into the trade deal. But yeah, I think I was seeing somewhere here where they're going to resume the trade talks. Yeah, resume the trade talks. And then I thought I saw another eye opener just a minute ago. I don't see it now, but oh, yeah, right here. So Trump economic advisor very comfortable with a trade deal closing with China on Monday. So it's not done yet, but these are the kinds of things that get people excited. Even though it's not done yet, that could entice a lot of people to be buying the indices. So we'll just see how that shakes out. Again, I don't make my decisions based off the news headlines like that, but it's just nice to know what other people are doing that don't necessarily dig into the fundamentals and the sentiment like I do. So yeah, it's just a 30,000 foot view glance. And if we take a look at the COT report from last week, the big banks and institutions, what they're buying, what they're selling, you can see at the very top, they had a net long change on U.S. 10-year Treasury bills. So interesting stuff there. And one thing that's different this week compared to the last few weeks is um, in the last few weeks, indices have been bought a lot, and then the currencies were kind of being sold off. So what's really changed is this week compared to last week is it's just kind of flip flopped. As you can see here, you got all the currencies that have had a net long change. So the Swiss franc, the U.S. dollar, the New Zealand and Aussie dollars, euro. Um, yeah. So I mean, the only other currencies that were sold off was the Japanese yen and the Canada dollar, but most of the major currencies were bought. And on the flip side, you can see down here, we got the Japanese stock index, the Nikkei 225 being sold off, the Dow Jones being sold off, the small businesses of the U.S., the Russell 2000 being sold off, and then the S&P 500 as well. So, yeah, the big banks sold off on the indices, and they ended up buying a lot of currencies. So, gets me excited because I'm a currency trader. Okay, so I'm going to be taking a look at that. If I flip on over to my top setups page, you can see if I drop this down, get rid of the neutral items. Again, I only want actionable items. So anything that's giving me a bullish or a bearish reading, that's quite a bit. That's a lot of different instruments right there, right? So always start from the top. Right at the top, we got a score of 11 for the New Zealand dollar and the Canada dollar. I like the New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen, uh, more so than the Canada dollar Jap because the big banks and institutions favored the New Zealand dollar over the Japanese yen. Okay, if I take a look on my surprise meter, and that was for what was that for? New Zealand Jap. Okay, yeah, looky here, economic surprise meter. Look at the New Zealand dollar right here, 88% favorable. So that's out of the last several reports that have been released, they have been a surprise. So the economists project a number, but the reality, the actual number was higher. okay, on 88%. So that's good for the New Zealand dollar. And on the flip side, the Japanese yen over here, it's at 50%. So it's right, it's the middle of the road. So with New Zealand dollar getting the benefit of having really good report releases, you pair that with the Japanese yen, New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen for a potential buy trade. So that's definitely one I'm looking at. What else we got here? The Swiss Japanese yen, the Euro Japanese yen. So they're getting a score of 2 for the COT report as well, the commitment of traders. Okay, that's one of the main things I like to look at. If it's showing a neutral or a negative number on the bullish bias, it just doesn't entice me as much. I like to see a 2 on this for bullish assets. On the flip side, if I'm short selling something, I like to see a negative 2, like down here. We got the pound New Zealand showing a negative 2. So -6 overall rating. Remember, -5 or less is a bearish bias, right? So yeah, just looking at a glance, on the short side, I like the British pound New Zealand dollar to short sell. On the bullish side, I like the New Zealand, obviously the one at the top, the New Zealand Jap, getting a score of 2, Swiss Jap, Euro Jap, and then even down here a little further, we got the Aussie Jap. 6, it's a score of a 6, giving me a 2 on the commitment of traders, so the big banks are buying. Okay, so that's a big deal to me. So yeah, I mean, we have a lot of, and I can be picky. It's okay, I can be picky on this because I have so many bullish and bearish instruments. So now I just want to fine tune that and look at what the big banks are doing and try to ride their coattails. So let's just go take a quick look at New Zealand Japanese yen on the chart. Pop on over here. Where's my news? Right here. Okay. So this is my New Zealand dollar Japanese yen trade. Obviously, it's been in a nice uptrend. Now we're trying to break that that resistance point. Okay, we've been trying. It dropped like crazy. It's come back up, and now I'm interested to see what it does when price reaches this 4-hour supply zone right here. Okay, that red rectangle. So, technically, I mean, if you're looking at the my order block projection tool, I mean, it's trying to say that right there is a 4-hour demand zone, but it's not truly a demand zone to me unless price can go up through that supply zone. So basically, here's what I'd want to see. Okay, so I'm going to get my little projection tool. For that to be a proper demand zone, I want to see strength coming out of it. So I'd like to see price break that overhead supply zone and close up here in this area before coming back, and then catch those unfilled orders for a potential long, a buy to the long side like that. Okay, so yeah, I mean, I could technically go ahead and put in my rectangle tool here and just kind of push it out like that, and I had one nice candle that came out of that zone, but then the next 2 candles after just kind of went sideways. So not really too impressed by that. When the market opens here later on, I mean, again, if I can see price break through that zone, that supply zone, before coming back, that'll make me feel a lot more comfortable about a potential buy right there. Okay, so we'll just wait and see on that one. New Zealand Jap. Okay, so now let's look at the Swiss Jap right here. Okay, so this one has actually had a pretty strong resistance point up here if we're looking on the daily. So this is the daily on the right, the 4-hour on the left. So you can see we've had all these points get touched. And why do I put those 2 little blue dashed lines there? Well, it's because if I look to the left, I can see where price hit those points and before screaming back the opposite way. Same thing right here, right? Price from there just dropped like crazy. So to me, that's interesting points in trading history. So, and then of course I got some more that are higher up, but the immediate ones are those 2 right there. And that's why you can see as price has come up, it's rejected. Okay, price went through those resistance points, but immediately got sold back to the opposite side. So that's 1 rejection, that's 2 rejections, that's 3 rejections. That one didn't quite get there, but then ending trading on Friday, we got another time prices reaching those resistance points. So it'll be interesting to see how price opens up here on the 4-hour when the market opens here in about half an hour, I believe it is. I mean, we've got a demand zone right here that's forming out like this, but we've yet to have price close above those resistance points from previously. So ultimately, what I'd like to see when price opens up, or when the market opens up, I would like to see price on the 4 hour come up here in this area and close so that it's showing strength to the opposite side. And then after it closes up here, then have it come down, catch these unfilled orders here for a potential buy long, like that. Okay. But it's just imperative. I want to see a strong demand zone. So in order for that to be a strong demand zone to me, I want to see price close above those resistance points, because that shows gusto. We need gusto. We need gusto in our supply and demand zone. So that's one I'll be looking at. I'm going to go ahead and put a alert there. That way I can keep an eye on it. And if price does inevitably touch that zone, then I can take a quick peek and see if it's something I want to buy, into. So I'll just move that down right there to the proximal line of the demand zone, and there we go. Now I can just ignore it and wait until I potentially get an alert. So okay, so we're good on Swiss JAP. What else do we got over here? The Euro JAP, that's also given me a bullish score of an 8 overall, but a 2 on the COT. I like that. And then retail. So this is the retail traders, the regular Joe Schmo laptop traders. Okay, they are betting on the market going down. So that's why it gives me a positive score of a 1, because we observe the masses and do the opposite. So if we take a quick look at Euro Japanese yen, okay, this one's a little messier. It's a lot more consolidation on the daily over here. But what I did is I went ahead and put my Fibonacci line from the low point there to the high point here. And I think I have an alert set on this one. Yeah. So on this one, I just zoomed my 4 hour out. You can see the low point here, high point here. The 38.2 retracement level is sitting on a demand zone, but I think that's a 2 hour. There's a 2 hour zone. Yeah, right here. So let's just clean that up a little bit. Okay. So we got that last red candle down before volume really spiked. So look at this volume bar down here, this red bar. Okay, that's on that candle. Oh, I'm sorry, it's actually on the candle after, but we still had pretty high volume on that candle that left the zone. So yeah, that's another point of interest, sitting just below the 38.2 level. So in fact, I need to move I'm just going to get that down to the distal line of that demand zone. I don't know why I had price or my alert set higher. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I like where it's at now. So yeah, it's a 2 hour zone. Okay, I prefer 4 hour and I prefer daily demand and supply zones, but it's a very strong bias, a bullish bias. So hey, just give me a simple retracement. Let's shake out some of these people up here that are wanting to profit, or maybe some of these. You see this liquidity line right here? Okay, anybody that's short sold in this area, they're upside down after price crossed back. So you might get a little bit of a squeeze. Okay, squeeze out some of them shorts. It's called suck in the shorts and smoke them fools. That's what I like to say. So anyway, and yeah, same thing. I mean, you can see this blue line on the daily over here. This was a resistance point further back right here. Okay, so price rejected it once, and then now it's trying to chew through it again. It actually closed above it at end of day Friday, so that's good. But I just like to see a little more higher price action. So maybe price to come up a little higher, okay, before I come down. To see if price comes down into my demand zone. Those unfilled orders should help me out for a potential buy to the long side, just like that. So very similar to the one we just looked at. But yeah, I'm happy that price closed above that resistance point, but I just like to see a little bit more push to the upside, before price retraces and comes down to my demand zone. So yeah, we got an alert set on that one. Okay, that was Euro Jap. Now let's go down here to Aussie Jap. Okay, so overall bullish score of a 6. Remember, 5 or higher is a bullish bias. 2 on the COT, so the big banks and institutions favored the Aussie dollar over the Japanese yen. So let's go take a look at the chart. Aussie Jap right here. Okay, so yeah, a lot of consolidation on the daily. I mean, you can see price is just really being squeezed in there. So I do have a Fibonacci line from this bottom point to this top point here. Price has come down to the 38.2 retracement. It's hit a support level from over here on the left side. Okay, back in time, back in early March, you can see this support level. Price came down, bounced up. So it broke through, came back up, and now just a few days ago, May 23rd, it looks like price actually came down to that same support level, and it has since bounced to the upside. Okay, so that tells me that's a pretty good support level now. So is there anything we can find on a smaller time frame? Let's go back to my 4-hour zone, 4-hour time frame, and there's those same lines down here. Okay, you can see where price was rejected. It whipped through and came screaming back up. So let's definitely try to find something here. Okay, so we've got a zone right here that's trying to form. Okay, price left that area, came up, and did not have the strength to break that little high point right there. So I dislike that. Price did come back down before turning around and going back up, and finally did break above this liquidity line. So yeah, I mean, I'll still go ahead and color that in as a demand zone, and I'll probably go ahead and put me an alert there. Okay, we'll just go ahead and do that now. Yeah, let's put an alert there. Just throw that out a week. Friday, blah, 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 blah. Da-da, da-da, da-da. All right, there's my alert. We're just going to set it right there on that demand zone, the distal line. Now, I got some other zones further down, but if it starts going way down here, then it's going to be turning the trend to a bearish trend. The trend is your friend. Don't want to fight the trend, right? So, if it were to go from where it's at down here real quickly, I might look at using these as a potential place to buy. But yeah, it's got a bullish score, so I'm just going to look at the closest zone to it. So that's why I got that alert set right there. So, yeah, I mean, if I use my projection tool, I mean, I just basically want to see. Yeah, I mean, I'm good with just price coming down now. Get those unfilled orders for potential buy to the long side. We'll get rid of this other line over here. And then not only that, but my VWAP line is actually trying to come through with that red line. Okay, if I look, actually, where did that originate? Yeah, so that originated all the way at the very start of that uptrend, right? So I planted my VWAP line there, and you can see price bounced off the VWAP right here once. It bounced off the VWAP twice here. So if I can get that VWAP line to raise up, now it'll only raise up if price actually does this. So here's what I would prefer to see. Where price is at, I'd like to see price come up this area, because as price raises, that VWAP, that red VWAP line will raise and hopefully get into my demand zone, so that when price comes down, then we could potentially look to get a buy. Oops, dang it, I keep messing it up. Okay, price up, down to demand, and then buy long. But the other thing is, as price goes out, where's my little drawing tool at? So many things. Brush. Yeah, so that VWAP line, come on. Oh, hold on a second. Let me do this the right way. Okay, let's try that again. VWAP, like this. Bzz. That's what I want to see. Just pretend like that's red, right? Actually, I can just make it red. Boom. So that's what I would ultimately want to see. Now that VWAP will continue to rise again if price rises, right? So price and volume, it's a weighted average. So yeah, if we can get price to come up, that should suck up the VWAP line. Hopefully it jumps into that demand zone for a nice dynamic support. So then we got unfilled orders, number one, from this zone on a 4-hour chart, a 4-hour time frame. We got so unfilled orders, and then we got a bounce off of VWAP. Big banks and institutions like to use VWAP. It's a tool that is just there's nothing mad. There's no golden ticket in trading, but that's one that is pretty good. I'll just leave it at that. So yeah, so I got my alert set, Aussie dollar, Japanese yen, and then other than that, I got like I said, the pound New Zealand if I wanted to short sell. So let's just take a look at that pound New Zealand. Pound New Zealand. Yeah, it's meh. It's just meh. It's just meh. We got former resistance points over here. Price is trying to turn it into support over here on our 4-hour. Yeah, if I look up, I got a supply zone up here, like this. Okay, so there's a supply zone, and then it's got me a supply zone up here. So we'll go ahead and color that in as well. All right. But the trend is just kind of ugly. So I don't really care for it too much, to be quite honest with you. Yeah, if I can get my projection tool, if I can see price like come down further before coming back up to touch these zones, then that's what I would prefer. Okay, something like that. Push these supply zones further out. And yeah, as far as VWAP, I don't know. Let's see what VWAP would look like over here. Nah, that's too low. Yeah, I don't know. It's just too much congestion. The thing with trading is if you have to look at a chart and cover one eye, maybe cover the other eye and squint to try to find something, chances are there's nothing there. Just listen to your gut, ignore it, and move on. So yeah, that's probably the main things I'm looking at. Just those three. Our indices, like the Dow is still showing a bullish score of an 8. S&P at a 7. The UK 100 at a 6. The DAX in Germany a 5. And then, of course, the NASDAQ at the top. So we'll take a look at a couple of those. NASDAQ and Dow. Let's just see what we got. Now, again, it's neutral on the COT. So, it's showing that even though they did actually sell off. So we'll just take a quick look at the indices. Dow. And then we'll make a decision on what I want to do. Okay, so there's the Dow 30. This was the most recent winning trade I had. I had bought down here in this area a couple weeks ago and had a nice little run up to the upside there. And I don't know, I sold out of it right in this area somewhere. So I think it was like a $600 or $700 winner. Nothing too big relative to the size of the account I'm trading. But hey, you can't go broke making a profit. Currently on the 4-hour, we don't really have any zones. If you went down to like a 2-hour, you got one right here. So, that could be a potential one right here. Look at VWAP trailing below it, right? So, if we can get something, let's do this. Oh, come on, mouse. My mouse quit working. What the heck? My mouse quit working. On. Oh, there we go. Okay. Let go. What in the heck is going on? Okay. That was weird. My mouse just started going haywire. Okay, so like I said, let's draw in this. Now, this is the 2-hour time frame, so we're just going to put a rectangle around that demand zone there and push that out. Turn that to green. Now, look, we got the VWAP coming below. So if why can I never find what I want? Okay, brush. Okay, there's my VWAP. I'm just assuming, I'm just kind of projecting based off of the recent movement, right? So yeah, if I can get price to kind of go up and break the resistance, which is where it's at currently, come and close up here somewhere, come back down, we could look to buy on demand for the upside, just like that. Okay. So yeah, again, we got this resistance over here, and that's where it's at currently. So if in order for this zone to look sexy to me, I want it to be strong. So I want to see it push through and close up in this area above that resistance point. And then we could get people sell out of some profits, or sell thinking it's too high and try to push it right back into our demand zone right here, where we got the unfilled orders. So there's a potential for the US 30, S&P, probably going to look similar. What we got over here? Back to the 4 hour. Okay, I got an alert set here. Yeah, I set that one earlier. I was looking further down on the S&P, but prices just moved away quite a bit. So that was a really good looking demand area, 4 hour and a daily. But yeah, as you can see, prices kind of getting quite a ways away from it, to where I'm just going to look at something higher up. I mean, like I said, we're getting S&P, we're getting a bullish score of a 7 right here. So yeah, I mean, I'll just kind of watch. It's a very narrow demand zone. Okay, right here. I'd like them to be a little thicker, like this one down here or these over here, but it's a little narrower. So yeah, I mean, price broke that level over here from that zone. It went up, kind of dicked around sideways actually for a while. So after looking at that, yeah, I'll probably just stay away from it. I mean, I could probably look down here, put an alert on this demand zone down here. Let's do that. Let's see what that looks like. La 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 la. Okay. Yeah, if we can get price to come down, then it'll be bouncing right between one of my VWAPs. I put a few VWAPs on here based off of swing low points. So there's one here, there's one here. If I go further back, there's one here, and then there's one down here. Okay. It's just nice to see where those swing low points and where those dynamic support resistance lines are. So, I mean, yeah, if I can get price to do something like this, maybe come up a little higher, come down, bounce into that zone right there. Oh, I did it again. I did it again. Let's do this better. Ba-bum, 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 ba-bum. That's what I'd want to see. That's an old one over here to the left. So yeah, have price raise up a little bit, have some sell off right into my unfilled orders of the demand zone. And then same thing as before with the VWAP line. Let's have this VWAP come through there like that. Might be a potential buy to the long side. I don't see Bitcoin on the list. I don't see gold. I don't see silver. So yeah, it's really just about a good set of currencies here. I mean, I'll take a look at these other ones, even though the COT is giving it a neutral reading. But yeah, my eye immediately goes to the ones where the banks favored those currency pairs as well. So we got strong, very bullish. Yeah, basically New Zealand Japs, my number one currency pair, because we got a very bullish bias. COT, retail traders think that is going down, so they're net short. So if they're net short, we want to look to the long side, because 90% of people lose money. 90% of people lose 90% of their account within 90 days. That's a horrible stat, but it's the real thing. Seasonality, it's given me a good score there. Trend is obviously up. The GDP report favors the New Zealand dollar. We got some neutral readings on the manufacturer PMI and the retail sales and the interest rate. And then really the only thing that is against this bias is the services PMI for the New Zealand Jap. But other than that, everything else is looking pretty decent or neutral. Positive for inflation, employment change, unemployment rate. And yeah, New Zealand Jap, I think that's going to be number one. I guess that will be number one right there. There it is. So yeah, just to kind of recap that, I'd like to see price go up and close above this overhead supply that we got right here. If we can get a close up here, then all I want to see is for it to drop down into my bread basket. Place a buy. I'm not messing around with the Fibonacci yet, because ultimately what I'd want to see is, yeah, something like this. You know, if price can come up to this area somewhere, I'm going to do this. You know, something like that. That's what I'd like to see. Something like that. Because then the 38.2 level, the 38% retracement is right over that demand zone. So, yeah, that's it. And then, I don't know, was a VWAP. Yeah, I don't like the VWAP there. Yeah, VWAP's not really helping us too much on this trade setup, unless I were to catch probably something like this. No, that's not even really helping it, is it? We can maybe move the VWAP over here to the bottom of this. No, that's too low. Yeah, not really getting a lot of help from the VWAP, you know, unless we could see it curl up. I don't know. Let's go down. Let's try this low point here. Yeah. So not really getting a whole lot of help on the VWAP, but score or price is above all those potential VWAP origins I would put in. So yeah, that's basically it. We're just going to keep an eye on New Zealand Japanese yen. Oh, and I need to put my alert in there. So let's go ahead and put my alert in. We'll be done. Let's just throw that alert out for a week. Da-da. All right. And then we'll just put it at the distal line, the proximal line of that demand zone, just like this. All right. So yeah, we're good. I mean, if price were to come, you know, if price were to turn around and come all the way down, there's another potential demand zone right here. So that's yet another place. So it really just depends on how price opens up. If price comes down, great. If price breaks through, great. I'll catch one of these two demand zones, that one there or that one there. So yeah, that's basically what I'm looking at. And I'm gonna keep this video short and sweet. I got things to do, but currencies it is. Peace.